It just gets crazier and crazier by the minute. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, the second day of April 2010 on this Friday edition. Our original analysis of what happened to the Hatari militia is being confirmed in spades. We're going to break that down later in the broadcast. There's also massive news coverage pushing restrictions of free speech inside the United States and legislation to do it. We're going to be going over that important news and this story out of True Slant that had a link directly to the actual police report and CPS file of Barry Cooper. He's the former narcotics police officer that quit and has been running stings that have aired on national television of police violating the Fourth and Fifth Amendment, police dealing drugs, police stealing drugs, you name it. Well, he moved down here to Austin, Texas, well, just north of Austin, Williamson County, and he said he was going to run stings on Williamson County. And I said, sir, it is listed as one of the most oppressive, corrupt counties in the nation. They set up who they want, when they want, and it was all over mainstream news a few weeks ago that he reportedly did get a police officer in a drug sting to take the drugs, to steal the drugs. And then, boom, they raided him, and now they've taken his children, and it's in the police and CPS report. I am reading directly from the report. Please explain your current concerns regarding supervision of the children. Parents are unstable and create an environment where the children believe the government is out to harm them, as they came and took the children away from the former police officer who they were arresting for running a sting against Williamson County. Absolutely incredible. So the headline we're going to have up at prisonplanet.com, Watson's working on it right now, will basically state the obvious. Children taken because parents said don't trust the government. In this country, and we're seeing more and more of this, they're saying you cannot even criticize the government, and we won't just put you in jail, we will tear your children away from you. This is the cold-hearted wickedness. And I just saw this about 30 minutes ago. We're working on getting Cooper on today. In fact, Jaron is out there on the phone with him right now. Here's the True Slant story. Max Kaiser sent this to us this morning, made us aware of it. Police, teaching kids to mistrust government makes couple unstable, unsuitable parents. That is the headline, and that is in the CPS document from the police. This is just, it even blows me away. I mean, every time I think the government can't sink to new lows, it just happens. And so much of it where I live, in Central Texas, they're announcing $2.6 billion in carbon taxes in the next 3 years just on gas and power bills for Austinites. $2.6 billion. That's from Austin Energy. Just complete and total robbery. Meanwhile, here's another headline tying into that. Obama to crush economy with massive CO2 taxes as early as next week. Meanwhile, this is out of the Associated Press. California's last auto plant shuts its doors. Mission completed there. Total deindustrialization of the United States. We're going to cover it all, ladies and gentlemen, and the latest on the government takeover of health care as the states revolt against it, as insurance companies raise rates, as Medicare and Medicaid put into place massive cuts, taxes go up, services go down. Welcome to Obamacare. And Obama has responded to talk radio, and all of his henchmen are out calling for censorship while he plays the part of the good cop, saying, oh, that's fine, that's always what's happened in America. Big show, important broadcast lined up today, April 2nd, 2010, on this Friday edition. The websites, while they're still available, are Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Stay with us. It is Friday, ladies and gentlemen, the second day of April 2010. FCC advisor advocates state-run propaganda megaphone to counter alternative media. That dovetails with Obama's favorite for Supreme Court Justice, Sunstein, wants to ban guns, free speech. We have his actual quotes. And, of course, that dovetails with dissenters to be detained as enemy belligerents and tortured for any reason the government wishes. And we have Barack Obama talking to CBS News about all the hate on talk radio, and he has all these different people in his administration calling for restrictions of free speech. The cybersecurity bill has passed the House. It is in the U.S. Senate. It is in the United States Senate. Even in the Associated Press, they admit the president could completely shut the web down if he so chooses. All of this is just icing on the cake, though. This is happening because they've already robbed $28+ trillion from the American people the last year and a half, and the federal government, controlled by criminal offshore banks and corporations, is now saying they want your private pension funds and government pension funds as well. We're going to go over the latest developments in the battle against the government takeover / corporate takeover of healthcare. Obama to crush economy with massive CO2 tax as early as next week, abandoning all loyalty to the democratic process the nation holds dear. President Obama has made the decision that getting energy tax legislation through Congress without the approval of the American people is just too much of a pain to bother with. He doesn't need our approval or the Senate's approval. Instead, he will have the EPA declare as early as next week that CO2 is a dangerous global warming gas and will start regulating its emissions immediately with massive taxes on coal-powered energy, factories, homes, the electricity you receive, not just on the plant that they pass the cost on to you, but another tax on your electricity. Obama's promise to open up vast stretches of ocean on the East Coast and Gulf of Mexico to energy exploration is simply a ruse to soften up the public for soon-to-be announced draconian regulations. And there's more to it than that. The Russian government and Chinese government announced multi-billion-dollar per year. In fact, Russia's saying it's a $40+ billion program to explore natural gas and oil in the Atlantic, off the U.S. coast, in international waters, and in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. And so now Obama's saying, okay, I'll let some companies based in the U.S., there aren't many, go ahead and start drilling. Whoever wanted to drill out there could already do it. Our government was banning our companies from engaging in that. The areas that they have now marked out in the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic are upwards of 50 miles out. The U.S. only declares 12 miles as being part of its territorial waters. So we're going to be going over that. And mission completed in California for the deindustrialization brigade. I mean, how many UN officials, how many NASA officials, how many Department of Energy officials have said just in the last few months they want a post-industrial, deindustrialized country? That is the goal. California's last auto plant shut its doors today. The last car has rolled off the production lines at California's Seoul auto plant. Workers are trickling out of the new United Motor Manufacturing plant in Fairmont as they completed their task and the plant readies to shut down. Nearby, job centers have been set up to help the newly unemployed figure out their benefits and get jobs at McDonald's. It continues. The plant made Toyota Tacoma trucks and Corolla sedans. The last Tacoma rolled off the assembly line last week, and Corolla production ended Thursday. See, Toyota dared to actually build plants here instead of the U.S. companies building them in China and Mexico, so they had to be set up with the industrial espionage, and they have, so don't worry, you're going to lose your job now. It's fun to hate the Japanese and don't get your job now. The plant began 25 years ago as a joint venture between Toyota Motor Corp and General Motors Company. GM pulled out last year, and Toyota later announced it would halt production, eliminating an estimated 4,700 jobs. State officials are pursuing federal grants to help those impacted by the closure. Yes, they will tax whoever still has a job to give it to people that don't have jobs, which will drive up even more debt for the government, which is exactly what the private central banks want. Continuing out of News 11 in Atlanta, anti-Obama billboards appear on metro highways. This is what everybody should do, even if you can only afford one billboard. They're cheap, comparatively speaking. With the economy imploding, that's why in Texas, more than half the billboards I see are government propaganda, anti-gun, anti-family, pro-police state brainwashing billboards, because most companies don't have money to buy billboards anymore, so you can get them for dirt cheap. Perhaps we should do a billboard initiative and put up a few dozen billboards nationwide, because then it generates local news coverage and continues to undermine this un-American Barry Soetoro known as Barack H. Obama. Everything we can do to expose this criminal and all his unconstitutional activity is absolutely essential. And it's starting to hurt these criminals. Sure, he's a puppet, but he is the figurehead. He is the masthead. He is the front person, the pitch man, selling this agenda.